Welcome inside TCO Studios. I'm Tatum Everett, and this is Pick 6, presented by KFAN. It's the show where you ask the questions and we find the experts to answer them. And we'll kick things off with our good friend, Ben Lieber. His question is from Joseph Dillard. He asks, I've been a Vikings fan for over 50 years. We've had some of the best players, but not the right mix of talent. What should the plan be? Super Bowl. All right, Ben, I'll let you take it away.
Well, Joseph, great question. Good insight. Yes, I'm with you. We've had a lot of great players here with the Vikings, but maybe not the right mix to get to the Super Bowl. So what's it going to take? Look, I'm still old school, but I think it marries up with what modern football is right now. It's still defense, defense, defense. Look, you got to do all those things on offense. You got to take care of the football. Got to be efficient. Got to do the run, pass, balance. We got all that stuff. But look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs got there. They were held up by their defense this year, and their defense has been playing outstanding. The 49ers, when they're on, they have the best front seven in football. They play outstanding defensive football as well. So some of the two best teams in the Super Bowl, they've gotten there because of their defense. I think that we have to go after defensive line. We attack free agency. We attack the draft. Sitting right now at number 11, we're going to have an awesome opportunity to get one of the best, if not the best, defensive linemen in the draft. I think that's where we should focus and maybe add a piece or two as well in free agency. So, Joseph, thank you very much. Skol Vikes.
Loving that enthusiasm, Ben. Since 2018, the Vikings have drafted 3 defensive players and 4 offensive players in the first round of the NFL draft. So it's just a wait and see what this front office will do this year. Moving on to question number 2. It's from Minnesota North Star on Twitter. They're wondering, why should I, as a Vikings fan, even care moving forward? The other NFC North teams draft better and have better cap situations. Vikings radio analyst Pete Bursich will bring some positivity to this question.
First of all, thank you very much for submitting your question. And yeah, the Vikings have some challenges. There are some things out there that they need to address. And this is something that happens with every franchise every season. As far as being a fan, I'm going to ask you to cast a bit of a wider net. I'm going to ask you to see the forest through the trees, because personally, every time I walk into US Bank Stadium, into that press box, and I see Scott Studwell, I see a man who cares. Every time I sit down with John Randall McDaniel, those are the guys that matter to me. When I sit down with Carl Eller, Alan Page, Jim Marshall, those are the guys that matter. Talking about Denny Green, all of these people that have come through this organization, all of them I respect and I love them. And also look at ownership. Every time you walk into that stadium, think about that. Think about walking in to the old Metrodome compared to walking into this US Bank Stadium. And oh, by the way, if you have been to TCO, I highly suggest you get there during training camp to take a look at that facility. The big things are there. The legends are there. It's all there. These guys just have to put it together. And you know what? I'm going to back them 100% until they do.
Well, Pete, you're exactly right. This league is set up to have parity each and every season, and the Vikings will use this offseason to build a championship roster. It's time now for question number 3. Ted Glover wants to know, besides quarterback, based on talent available, what position matches talent and need for the Vikings in free agency? We've got Fox 9 sports anchor Dawn Mitchell to answer this one.
Hey, Ted Glover, thanks for your question. We all know the Vikings have lots of needs, right? And it's going to start first with quarterback, and then everything shuffles down from there. But you want specifically perhaps some free agency talent and the position. So I'm going to stick just with defense. And here's my top 3 guys on defense. I think at first the Vikings need a defensive tackle. And how about Christian Wilkins from Miami? He might fit the bill to get some girth and beef up front. Also linebacker, because Jordan Hicks can't do it all himself. Patrick Queen would be a really good fit there. And we all know year after year after year, cornerback. We always need corners. Perhaps they'll take one in the draft. If they do in free agency, Awuzie from the Bengals might be a good choice there. So I'm just sticking first with defense, because if we can't get anyone in the draft, it has to be addressed somehow. Thanks for the question.
Well, much like Ben, Don's obviously focused on defense. Appreciate you weighing in. And I think that means it's a good time to switch things up and have a question about the offense. It's question number 4, and it's from Mike on Twitter. He asks, what do we need to do to get the best offensive line in Vikings history? The best in the league so a QB can make plays with our offensive weapons. Vikings Entertainment Network's Gabe Henderson is here with the answer.
Mike, appreciate the question. I'm outside right now in February. It's 50-degree weather, and I'm still freezing being from the South. But if I was one of the Vikings offensive linemen being about 300 pounds, I probably wouldn't be as cold. And I think to be a really good offensive line in the future, the Vikings have to keep its continuity up front. Last year, the Vikings, Adofo-Mensah, they brought back all 5 starting offensive linemen. I'm interested to see what that looks like in 2024. If you look at the Detroit Lions or the Philadelphia Eagles, being a really good offensive front starts with that chemistry. And the fact that all those guys have been together 3 to 4 plus years, that really makes everyone better. That makes your quarterback start to have a little bit more confidence. That makes your running back, that makes his eyes, his vision gets a little bit better. So I really believe if this Vikings team wants to be one of the best offensive lines in NFL history or Vikings history at that starts with continuity.
Appreciate the answer, Gabe. It's time now for a very timely question. The NFL Combine is just 2 weeks away, and question number 5 is from Kevin in Chaska. He wants to ask Paul Allen, what do you enjoy most about your visits with all of the national experts at the NFL Combine? PA, you're on the mic.
So this will be the 12th Combine that I've gone to in Indianapolis, and it's ever changing. But one thing from a national perspective that I always find vital is you really get a hold of what positions are going to be super deep and strong in the upcoming draft. Like when we were there in 2020, right before the pandemic, we kept hearing this would be the greatest wide receivers draft in the history of the NFL. And it was, and we got JJ.
Looking forward to the Combine as well, PA. We'll have plenty of coverage from Indianapolis in the coming weeks on Vikings.com and the Vikings app. Well, we have reached our final question of Pick 6. It's from George, and he wants to know, would the Vikings be open to a complete color scheme change to try and break the 60-plus year curse? The Buccaneers completely did a 180 in their fortunes when they switched from orange to red and pewter. Thank you so much for sending in that Twitter question, because I love it. It's a good thought, but I just don't agree. I think the purple and gold are so iconic within the league. When you see purple and gold, you automatically think of the Vikings. And just to tell you a little bit about the history, the purple was chosen because it's a color of boldness. They wanted a bold color to go along with the yellow, which is a nod to the state's Scandinavian roots. I think that nod and that thought that goes into the purple and gold color combination is what makes the Vikings super unique. Again, thanks, George, for the question, and to all of our fans who submitted questions for this episode of Pick 6. If you want to end up on the next episode, you can tweet at me at Tatum Everett or look for my call for questions on the Vikings Twitter page. We'll see you next time.